Now, the Irish Chamber Orchestra celebrating 50 years this year with a packed calendar of events. There've all manner of things happening. And of course, the great thing about them is that they collaborate with DJs and dance companies and the rest. And then by the same turn, they'll turn around and suddenly celebrate Beethoven. So that's as it should be, as far as I'm concerned. Their CEO is Gerry Keenan. Gerry, good morning to you.
Good morning, Marty.
And a happy Limerick day to you.
Is it frosty?
It is, isn't it?
Sure is.
Well, you see, this is what Sinead Michael himself. This is what we do every morning. We plough through the frost on your behalf. Best we can.
Be lost without you.
Oh, you wouldn't your hat go away without you. Look, congratulations, firstly, on the 50 years. Now, you're not there 50 years, for God's sake. No.
I'm there quite a few years, actually. I had a previous existence 34 years ago when I was the manager of the Irish Chamber Orchestra when it was based in Dublin.
Isn't that something?
So there you go.
And how did it happen that you found yourself again at the helm?
John Kelly's fault, Lord rest him. I had a lovely, lovely gig going in Dublin with DIT, and he came down and he said,
"You're the man.
Need a bit of help with the orchestra," and that was 14 years ago.
Good Lord.
And sure, I always had a kind of hankering. It was always a great orchestra, a great bunch of people. So, sure, look I'm here now.
I know.
The rest
absolutely.
is history.
And a great celebration this year with 50 years is quite something. But it is about pushing the boundaries, isn't it, Gerry? Because if you just do what you do, that's grand and people will like it. But it's when you push some boundaries and you make a few waves. I think that's very important, don't you?
Totally. You know, if you stand still, as the fella said, just stagnate, and we all know that classical music is a tough enough sell sometimes. So we try and keep changing. We work with we've worked with Ballet Ireland. We have a 1 year every year we do an opera with INO.
Yes,
as you say, DJ Cormac. That's been a great collaboration. In fact, we're on with him in Vicar Street in March. So all those try to attract different audiences along with our education, so that it's a wide range and always trying to play really well. That's the main driver.
Well, of course. And listen, in the Irish Chamber Orchestra, how many permanent members would there be?
We have 22 on contract. So we have 18 strings and 4 wind. And then we would regularly augment, and those are an extraordinary bunch of loyal people. We very, very rarely have different people in, you know. So it's a very settled band. Which
is very important, isn't it? Because then, I mean, everybody knows each other, of course, but it also means that there's kind of a like-minded thing going on. You all know where you're coming from.
Yeah, I think the other great thing too is, and it sounds a peculiar thing to say, but, you know, we don't work every week of the month, and that actually keeps everything very fresh. Plus, we're very, very lucky. We've done a lot of great touring, which is a great morale booster apart from anything else, apart from comparing yourself to other orchestras.
Sure.
Keeps you going, you know.
It does, absolutely. And you've a lot of that this year ahead of the, as part of the 50th celebration. Yeah. One of the things you have, however, this month is your Beethoven celebration with the 250th anniversary.
Fantastic program with one of the big drivers of ICO in the last years has been Jörg Widmann, a fantastic composer and clarinetist
and conductor.
Exactly.
That's right.
So we're playing Beethoven 7, which is, to many of us, Beethoven's greatest symphony, some would argue. And then Jörg has an accompanying piece, Con Brio, which is based on Beethoven 7, with the beautiful Strauss concertino, rarely heard, for himself and bassoon. He's playing clarinet. The amazing Diego Cena is our regular principal bassoonist, so he's doing the solo. And the Marriage of Figaro overture, but also at the weekend, we're recording it for Alpha Classics. So we've a 3-album deal with them, and that's the second album we're recording with them is next weekend.
Oh, that's fantastic. Well, now, look, before we go any further, you're playing this Thursday. You're playing tomorrow night, aren't you?
Yeah, in our lovely home Limerick in UCH. Yeah. And then really excited, Valentine's night, we're going to Dublin Castle for the first time in a sort of co-presentation with the Office of Public Works in in the Printworks, beautiful venue at 7:30. So really looking forward to that. We have concerts there in February, March and April. You know, Dublin's tricky. There's an awful lot on. Very hard to find a home. So we're very, very happy to be there and really grateful to them.
That's right. And the other thing too about Dublin, I mean, you say it's tricky. Don't talk to me about tricky. It is also, there's so much on in Dublin. This is the problem, you see. It's being, and people are spoiled for choice betimes. So
yeah, it is nearly oversubscribed, I suppose.
I suppose, yeah, there is that. You know? We better make a point, though, however. It's 8 o'clock at University Concert Hall in Limerick, and it's 7:30 on Friday in Dublin.
Thank you.
Very important. Because you'll have Lousers turning up at 8 giving out, and then the whole night will be destroyed. You can't have that. Listen, I'm not going to play. We have a little bit of Mozart here. Now, I say a little bit of Mozart. It lasts for half an hour, so it's lovely talking to you, Gerry.
You too.
But it's no money winding you up, because it's Jörg Widman's on the clarinet in this. So just to give people a sense, it's the clarinet concerto. I'm only going to give them a little taster, because I want to talk to you some more. So will you stay put, Doctor? You will.
We won't go anywhere.
Please don't. This is the principal conductor, the artistic partner, Jörg Widman, and the clarinet concerto in A. Only a little piece. Now, a piece of the clarinet concerto in A, Mozart, and just to tell you that is and it is about half an hour long, so Gerry will understand. We'll explain to him I couldn't play it all, will you?
I will.
Just let him know that he wasn't let down overly. Anyway, listen. Oh yeah, the other thing, you've got so many events. I was going through the list. Like you've all manner of things happening. And funny, playing the bit of Mozart there. You're playing some Mozart later on in the year in Kilkenny, aren't you?
We are. We're doing the beautiful Mozart Requiem with York. I can give you a little exclusive now. Claren McFadden is the soprano. The wonderful Paula Murray is the mezzo. And Dean Power from around this parish in Clare is the tenor.
Oh, that's very excellent. That is very excellent. Yeah. And when you bring these ideas, how do you put the whole show together? What way is it you and in collaboration with people? How do you decide what?
Yeah, well, Kilkenny's a great example. We're on Chickers year 4, I think, of a residency in Kilkenny, and we work with Olga Barry now as the director there. So we'd put the programme together with her, and also in this Requiem we're using Chamber Choir Ireland, which is another collaborator of ours. We do a lot with them. So, you know, you try making, as you well know, making the figures work is the hard thing a lot of the time.
It must be.
Yeah, and I'd have to say at this point, without, in fairness, the Arts Council of Ireland, we wouldn't be doing any of this. And that's really important in this whole 50 years. They've driven that whole kind of growth, you know.
Yeah, and I see Catherine Hoke is going to be there with doing a stream before. I take it she's bringing the violin with her.
She is. No, she's the best.
Great girl.
And she's actually, we're launching an album. She's done a beautiful album with the Four Seasons of Buenos Aires, and that's in April.
Yeah, what did you say? The Four in Buenos Aires?
The Four Seasons of Buenos Aires.
Oh,
yeah, it's the Piazzolla. It's a fabulous piece. It's a tango version of Vivaldi's Four Seasons, if you like.
Is this Catherine Hunker and you?
And ICO, yeah.
That's fantastic.
Yeah,
what a great idea. And what label will that be on?
That is on Orchid Classics.
Orchid Classics. And they're the people you're recording for the weekend as well, aren't they?
No, that's different. That's Alpha Classics.
Oh, Alpha. Why can't you just get onto the lyric label and have an end?
They're all looking for us, Marty. What can you do?
I'm sorry, how do you spell that?
O-R-C-H-I-D.
Orchid. I didn't.
Yeah.
I thought it was
and we'll make sure you get a copy.
Orchid. Yes, would you do that? That'd be very
certainly will.
That's very important as well, to have the calling card. I'm a great believer in the card. I don't care if it's old school. I think the CD is vital.
Hear, hear.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, you're heading for Wexford before the summer starts properly.
Yeah, as part of the INO, we're doing the abduction from the Seraglio with wonderful INO, and so that opens in Wexford in May, and then we go on to Dublin to 4 performances in the Gaiety.
And is the great Claudia Boyle going to be with you?
She is indeed,
fantastic.
Fantastic Irish singer.
Yeah.
Who I remember in DIT was also a great cellist and a flute player.
I never saw her play. She never brought her instruments in here.
Oh, no, sure. Look,
really?
Isn't it?
But she's on her way. But she's really on her way now. She really is on her way now. So that's going to be in Wexford. Is that, to take it in the Opera House?
Yeah.
And then in Dublin, is it the? Do you know what? In the Gaiety, you said. Okay, that's great.
Yeah.
The other person that I want to mention, because he's a regular in here, and I always enjoy his company, is the great Fineen Collins.
Oh, yeah, delighted. We're doing actually, it's, as it's the 50th year, we're doing a decent regional tour. We're doing 5 centres, and it's with Fineen doing Mozart 12, I think it is 12, and with the wonderful Dermot Dunn. So there's a combination directed by Catherine,
Oh, that'll be terrific. And that's later in the year now, September?
That's in September, We go to Clifton, Navan, Usher, all sorts of places.
And are you taking yourselves out of the country at all this year?
We are indeed.
Good man.
June.
Because we saw your great where was it, New York?
Oh, we were in New York.
You were?
Yeah, we did. We did
sent us some lovely messages for which we are eternally grateful.
Sure, look, I think the great thing, Marty, is we're all in this together. Do you know?
I agree.
We're like a minority sport, and we have to make ourselves a majority sport.
But we're still boxing above our weight too, I think.
Indeed, and look at the figures this week.
Yeah, it's marvellous.
Fantastic.
It's marvellous. And we're all encompassing, and I think that's the trick as well.
Absolutely.
It really is. But yes, you were in the States. So where are you off to this time?
So this time, thanks to Culture Ireland, we are off to Würzburg, to the Mozart Fest, and this is our 4th visit. So it's a really great... We keep getting asked back, so we must be doing something right.
You must be impressing them all right. When is that happening?
That is on June the 14th.
Oh, that sounds terrific.
And then the following night, we're in Neumarkt at this beautiful venue called the Reichsstadel. And that's where a lot of German orchestras actually record beautiful acoustic. And again, that's a re-invite. We were there before. And that's with Jörg's sister as soloist, Carolyn Widman. So, yes. Sibling doubt.
And here's another one. Somebody has been on to me this morning. He said, I have a feeling I attended a concert at the Chamber Orchestra in Chicago a few years ago when I was on holiday. My friend Maureen Barrett said, we had a great night. Is that right?
That's right.
There you go.
We did a big tour in 2013 with Jimmy Galway.
Ah, for God's sake.
Yeah.
Who was in here not so long ago and looks in fine fettle.
Amazing man.
He's amazing man. Well, it's worldwide talent and loved by so many. Now, I want to play a little bit of the Marriage of Figaro, because we were talking about that earlier on, and the overture and all the rest of it, and that's going to be part of Beethoven 7, funnily enough. Let's have a little listen. Needless to mark, it's Georg Wigman again doing the conducting there, the Irish Chamber Orchestra, and that's the Marriage of Figaro, the overture. Just to say to you as well that the Irish Chamber Orchestra, I should mention Irish World Academy of Music and Dance at the University of Limerick. That's the residency funded by the Arts Council of Ireland. By the way, you have a huge concert, Gerry. I'm chatting by Gerry Keenan, CEO of the Irish Chamber Orchestra. You have a huge concert in November. That's your gala, Johnny.
We do.
That's your dress up properly night.
Well, we're hoping actually it'll be a little bit more relaxed as well. You can bring in a glass of wine.
I like the sound of that.
Yeah.
And where's this? Well, tell me what's happening firstly on the gala concert, the 50th.
Well, we're trying to reflect. Obviously, you can't play everything for 50 years, so we're trying to reflect over the 50 years, little pieces. So it'll be like movements of popular concerti, movements of popular symphonies, and we're hoping to have one or two sort of old friends, like hopefully Trace Timoney, people like that, you know, that will come back and say hello to us. So really, really looking forward to it. And all of that has been put together. So it'll be in Limerick and Dublin, so we'll have a double celebration.
Good idea. That's a lovely idea. And the thing is, you have had very fine people come and play over the years, guests. For instance, not so long ago, Shekhar Kenna-Mason, for heaven's sake. Yeah. I mean, that was pretty spectacular.
It certainly was. Cheekers, what an audience. And went and got an MBE there, so there you go. All down to us.
From his work with the Irish Chamber Orchestra, I expect. But we interviewed him. Lovely man.
Gorgeous. Yeah, I was in with him that day with you. He's like totally charming and just very, very at ease with himself.
Which is wonderful, because it's so much better to have that. And then in December you finish off the year with something else.
Oh, with a very one of our great captures, I hope, is Thomas Zetmar, who we've worked with a couple of times, who's just an extraordinary musician. Like, we're very lucky, Marty. We've managed to get these really high caliber conductors, stroke soloists, stroke artistic partners, and it's such a joy for everyone.
Well, that's the thing, and it also shows you the caliber of the Irish Chamber Orchestra and how the esteem in which are held. Simple. Simple. Thanks. Look, have a wonderful time. Just to remind people again that it is Beethoven 7, and we are talking about tomorrow night at the University Concert Hall Limerick at 8, and then on Friday, Valentine's night. Look at you romantic thing. The Print Works, Dublin Castle, but that's at 7:30.
And there's a free glass of wine in Dublin.
Really?
for Valentine's.
Look at you. Roses for the ladies. Like, see the style of you now. Gerry, thank you so much. And I wish you a happy Valentine's Day, sir. And
Thanks
a happy 50th anniversary. God bless.
You too, Marty.
Good to talk to you this morning. Take care. There he is. That's Gerry Keenan, CEO of the Irish Chamber Orchestra. And wishing them the very best of luck with those two events and all their events that are happening over the year. And if you want to find out any more, it's irishchamberorchestra.com.